Writing specialist at Brigham Young University, Dr. Amber Jensen, found that while teaching in secondary schools, a major impediment to implementing reflective writing into a curriculum was lack of time to give feedback.
I realized that with a load of 150 high school students, it was impossible for me to give them the kind of individualized and specific feedback on their writing that I really hoped to be able to give. So to solve this, I drew on my belief that peers are some of the best people to give feedback to other people's writing. After all, high school students are absolutely capable of being a peer responder to writing.
Recognizing that students were resources, Professor Jensen implemented an experiential peer writing reflection program, as well as a type of writing fellows program she called Rent a Tutor.
In practice, the student tutors would be in my class, which doubled as the writing center, and students in the school could come in for help during their lunch periods or after school. As for Rent a Tutor, teachers across the curriculum could rent our student tutors to help them develop or revise rubrics and mini lessons. For instance, we helped a biology teacher who had training in biology, but not a lot of experience in teaching writing. She was able to rent some of our peer tutors, and they helped her develop a writing curriculum to support an assignment that her students were writing in biology.
Tutors kept logs of their tutoring sessions, which allowed them to reflect on their experience, note potential strengths or weaknesses, and identify what questions they still had. Throughout the school year, Professor Jensen and other writing teachers reviewed these logs to help the tutors set goals for themselves.
When students identified what new practices they wanted to implement, they set goals based on their reflection that they would implement over the next quarter of the school year.
The students' final project was a writer's portfolio where they submitted all of their logs, all of the quarterly reflections, and an end-of-the-year reflective essay entitled Who I Am as a Tutor. They also wrote reflectively about their own growth as writers.
So often as teachers, we have students turn in a final product and it's over. One of the skills that I think my tutors developed, and that I hope all of my students develop, is this notion that you can think backward and forward about that product. I wanted them to think backward and reflect back on what they created, and then think forward, considering what they could do differently, or what they might adopt from this writing experience to apply to their next experience.
In addition to getting help with all of her writing students, Jensen always had in mind that she was helping her tutors develop teaching skills that would transfer to college or into their next job.
A lot of times we have this mythology, especially about writing and about teaching, that writers are born or teachers are born, but there are principles and strategies and tools that we learn and we implement. The ability to reflectively peer tutor gave my students the opportunity to see this firsthand, because we gave them the space and the time to pause and reflect and practice this tool of metacognition that really helped them name the choices they were making and be more aware of how they were moving through the decisions they were making as writers.